So in order to use the tailstock to actually drill a hole, we need to do a few little things. Now, if we were to put a drill bit straight in here, especially a larger one, similar to that, you'll find that the tip of a drill bit generally isn't really sharp enough or sturdy enough to pierce the material in the right place. So what we do use is something similar to this. Now this is a centre drill. You see, it's a stubby little drill and it's just got enough of a leading edge on it to give us a good indentation on our material. So before we drill any hole, we'll tend to use a centre drill first because it's more sturdy. So we place that in our chuck. And we're just going to use this just to start a hole first. So our centre drill is in there nice and securely. I'm going to make sure that the clamp is not on the tailstock. So we'll move that forward. We can now move our tailstock down to the other end of the machine. So I'm going to move along. And if we have a look at our current carriage, it's right in front of our chuck. So let's move that along a little bit further. And we want to be very careful here that the carriage doesn't interfere with the chuck in any way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the tool holder there. You don't have to do this, but it's nice just for safety's sake. Remove that out of the way. And then we can move our carriage along so it's not going to interfere with our chuck. Let's make sure we can still close our guard. We can. Perfect. So now, I'm going to move the tailstock along into the frame. I'm going to lock off the tailstock using the rear handle. Then drive the tailstock spindle out until we can see it's nearly going to make contact with our part. So at this point, I can start up the lathe. And that's all it takes to start our hole. But the centre drill is nice and small, and because it's small, it's durable and it's rigid, so it can't flex. So it means that our centre point is in the right place. So the next thing we need to do is I'm going to release our tailstock and bring it back out the way, and I'm going to place our first pilot drill in there then. So in this case, I'm going to use a 5mm drill. I'm going to remove our centre drill, insert our 5mm pilot drill. And return the tailstock into position. Now at this point, if I want to measure my depth, I need to make sure that I put the tailstock in a position where depth can sort of accurately be measured. So if I return my spindle, so I'm on, so let's say 10mm, or in fact no, if I go to 0mm. Yeah. Okay, so I'm on 0 now. I can use the tailstock spindle as a measure of how deep I've gone. So again, if I start the spindle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 25mm deep. So I'm going to use the spindle to keep track of that. So I'm happy now that I met my 25mm. What I did do is, as I was drilling, I made sure that I pecked it in and out, so I didn't try and force the drill in one go. I cut a little bit of material, pulled it back out, cut a bit more, put it back out, cut a bit more, pulled it back out, and what that allowed is for the chips to fall off the drill. Now, in a normal circumstance, I'd use some coolant, especially with aluminium. I haven't for the purposes of this demonstration, so that I don't cover the camera lens in it and then you guys can't see what's going on. So now that that pilot drill's in and up to size, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step up to my final size, which in this case is going to be 13mm. So I release the drill from the chuck. Make sure our taper is locked in. And again, because I know my pilot is 25mm deep, I've got a little bit of travel that I need to make here for my 13mm drill. So I'm going to see here, I'm on 10mm on the spindle now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to travel to 40 now, because that'll take me 30mm in total, which will take up to 5mm there, and then the 25mm we've already got inside the part. And with that, we now have a 13mm hole within our part, and we can consider the drilling finished. So, as per normal, I now need to brush down the machine. I need to get rid of the swarf and take the tailstock back to its normal position.